I'm Kara, and welcome to Soul Inspiring Business. I believe that all of us possess unique gifts and talents that allow us to serve the world and our own growth in the highest possible way. Our lives are an expression of our thoughts, beliefs, and actions. And here, we will explore businesses, thought leaders, and topics designed to inspire, helping propel your own growth so you can live your best and most purposeful life. Welcome to Soul Inspiring Business. Welcome back to the Soul Inspiring Business podcast. Today, I am very excited because you've heard me talk about her many times before, but she is the fabulous, the one and only Jen Cudmore. She is my business coach. We've been working together for, what is it now, 3 to 4 years, maybe? And I just got back from a soul business retreat with her in Colorado. And I am just so glad to have you on the show, Jen.
Thank you for having me. It's exciting to be here, and watching you build this podcast is super exciting. And what's most exciting about it is it's so aligned for you, and it's just really your expression in the world. And, you know, one of the things that I think the gift that you bring to this podcast is that you've got a really, really simple and beautiful way of describing the essence of life, the essence of business. You can put into words what I often can't put into words, being deeply in the folds of the work. So I really appreciate your languaging and the way you show up, and so excited to be here, and hopefully, you know, what I can bring to the table today, you'll be able to interpret for everyone too, because often I'm talking in code, aren't I? So, yes, lovely to be here.
Well, a beautiful code it is. And, you know, I know I've mentioned this to our listeners before, but, you know, really, truly meeting you. And I think what you actually gave me was the confidence to really create from soul, to be more authentic, and to show up more as myself online and with clients and in the world, talk about things like spirituality and God and things that weren't necessarily, I think are more so now, but not necessarily things that we always used to talk about with business, right? And you just have, really given me and pushed me into having a bigger voice. So for that, I'm very grateful. And the work you do is pretty unique as well, because it really does sort of bridge the gap between business and energy work. So if you could just briefly describe your background, because I think it's an interesting one for people to understand a little bit more about you and really kind of how you came to this work.
Yeah, well, I was first a copywriter in marketing back in my 20s, and I remember not enjoying finding ways to influence people to buy things that weren't necessarily exciting or from, going to sort of reward them in any way. And so then I got into film and television, and I was, involved in that world for quite a long time. And I was the one on the TV set and on the film set who was like the healer. And so, so like everyone would come to me. I had a kit of different things for people. I was doing, sort of held that space for the whole film crew. And so when I had my kids, I thought I can't be on a film set all the time. I need to do something else. So I thought, well, why don't I train in a modality? And of course it was kinesiology, because that was the modality that I always felt had the spot. Like if I went to an energy healer, I would wonder if what they said was true, if it was really just their impression on something, or if I went to a naturopath, I felt like there was something missing, like they missed the one piece of me that was blocking what was sort of stopping me from being healthier or happier. And so that's why I love kinesiology. So I'm a trained kinesiologist. I'm probably about 16 years into the craft. And I just love it. And I used to do a lot of work with people, in clinics. So I'd have a clinic, people would come, I'd physically muscle test them and find out what was blocking them. People bring their kids in to find out what was really going on. And what I found was the people that, when I was working on business with people, like at Work for Business, like what was the block with the sale, or what was the block with the business partner, or did they not have enough confidence? Where did that come from? From the grandfather. Oh, right, it's a generational thing, and so we'd clear that. And, we've even had miracles that have happened, like quite profound miracles where people haven't had tumors. One guy didn't have a tumor, and like random, like miracle stuff like that. So I've never second guessed the power of healing with when you really tap in and find out what's really going on with someone. Mm-hmm. But when I noticed, like, the people that were coming working on their business and money, right, because business can equal money, they seem to make the biggest progress, because when we put them on purpose, because the body's doing the talking, it's connected to the soul, it's connected to all the organs, it's connected to the greater matrix of who you are. You usually get onto the right alignment and on purpose. And from that, like, little sores on their skin would clear up, or suddenly that money for the renovation came through magically, just because they got into alignment. So I thought, I just started doing more and more business people. I became what I call a business kinesiologist. And I learned a long time ago how to do it without actually physically touching people. I had some experiences where I helped a couple of sisters who had cancer. It's not my job to necessarily work on cancer now, I realized that I could actually find out things through remotely testing them, just with my own muscle testing, which I don't necessarily recommend. Remember, I've got decades of training behind my own muscle testing. It's not like I'm randomly, swinging a pendulum for things. It's like a deep craft that I've developed, but I just didn't second guess it. And from there, we were kind of getting book deals for people, and we just went from there. And it was way before COVID. So by the time COVID came, I was been already online for about 7 years, working really, morphing it sort of more into a coaching system where people can find out their unique brands, and we can clear the blocks on really who they're meant to be with their soul purpose. And, monetizing that and understanding the energy of how to do that with money and business. So that's the journey. So we're working purely with entrepreneurs, decision makers, leaders, and clearing the way forward using the craft and the tool.
Yeah. And really that encompasses what your work is, which is soul business, right? How do you create from soul? How do you align your gifts and all of that into your business, which is what we just, having the soul business retreat, which I just came back from. And I know you're doing another one coming up in Byron Bay, then another one in Hawaii. So for anybody listening, just a little plug for you, because I know these are some things that you have coming up. But again, the work is so unique, and that it really is about how you're connecting soul, how you're aligning who you are naturally in the world to your business, and then from there able to make greater impacts in the work, right? And so I know
it's almost it's almost the other way around too, because when you get into alignment, the business aligns to you. You don't even have to align to the business. Do you know what I mean? Like, right. When you're kind of being who you're really meant to be, and you're following those nudges, and you've got that mental clarity, the brain sorts in a new way that it hasn't before, because you feel really clear. You've got that clarity. It's almost like the business shifts to you, like it changes and morphs to what you're meant to be and how you're meant to be. So it's a sort of from the inside out, like you're doing business from the inside out.
Yeah, which feels much more special and really kind of magical, when you can do business that way. And sometimes I joke because, the work, we talk about flow business, right? Like attracting business to you and working in flow. And so sometimes I think that there can be this misconception that like you're not really working as hard, or you're still working, right? But you're doing it in a way where things naturally, the order of things can naturally line up to lift you, where you're still doing the work, you're still putting in hours, but it feels different. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it feels so different.
Right?
I think that's the key. It feels so different. You're often working more. And so this whole, the 4-hour week thing is kind of funny because it can actually take you out of alignment if you do this concept that you try to work less. If it's feeding your purpose and if it's, prospering you and you've also decided that your children and your life gets touched with the golden touch at the same time, you'll be more in your life. You'll have a capacity to do more. And so flow often means you're more in. It can mean that, at times you might be working long hours, but it won't feel like long hours. It'll go in a flash and you would have progressed yourself and, elevated yourself. So flow is actually quite energetic. It's not easygoing. Do you know what I mean? It's interesting. It's an interesting kind of paradox, really, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And sometimes misunderstood, I think, because there's a lot of people that talk about it in different ways, right? But I'd love to, I know on one of the shows, a few shows ago, I talked about and I referenced you and I said that it had sort of finally clicked, this idea of separating money and money goals from the business to like showing up and actually doing the work and focusing on making a difference, and then separately working on your money goals, which I think is often counterintuitive. And that's not how we think about business, because we think about business as producing the money. But I'd love for you to share with our listeners in your own words how you see those two as separate and how you've been helping, not only me, but other clients with this type of shift in how we see things.
Yeah, and first of all, what I want to say about that is, you and I have been working on that for a long time and talking about it a lot. Like it's my tagline: manifest money, full stop, making a difference, like two separate things. And and I think might be really interesting for people listening. It just suddenly dropped for you, didn't it? Where you just went, bang, I've got it. And the thing of here, when you're listening to this and you're listening to us today, it's not a mindset thing, right? It's not mindset, it's an energy thing. And so, I invite you to sort of open up to that, to an energy that could be different to how you've been developed as a person, how you've been trained, developed. I'm not even going to use negativities like program, because look how fabulous everyone is by now. So we're not going to negate how you've grown in your businesses so far. But it's an energy shift, and if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. And so, you're just sort of open to the idea, because it's beyond the mind, it's beyond mindset. Mm-hmm. It's an energy thing. That money is separate from business. Now, there's plenty of ways you can break it down. Like, you could say it this way, although this way has been quite hacked with the masculine, feminine paradigm, but you could say money is feminine and business is masculine. And so, if you want to go down that track, you can think, okay, the business holds the strategy, masculine, the stability, the plan, the actionables, and then money is feminine. That's like a feeling, a desire, a well-beingness, not going up and down, like potentially how women can go up and down with their moods, or the feminine goes up and down. So if it is going up and down or in and out, because the feminine goes in and out, like the water on the tide on the moon, it's feminine, goes in and out. Mm-hmm. You stay stable in the masculine, just doing the next right thing. Can you see?
Yeah.
And so and you might even know some of this in your own, relationships, masculine and feminine relationships. When one person's going a bit in and out, which is a feminine flow thing, or that kind of flow, usually one person, thankfully, stays quite stable in the masculine. But if you're just thinking that the masculine's going to do that, create this feeling, we know it's not true. If you just think that the business is going to create the money, it's not true. You need both the aspects. The other way to see it, which is not not getting into the masculine feminine, which can trigger people into whole different paradigms, is I see it as two train tracks. One is the money and one is the business. And actually they don't cross. Like don't try and work out how one train track will go into another one to create business. That would be like snow plowing and skiing. Mm-hmm. We want them together parallel. And we want you to put as much energy into each of them. So as much energy as you put into working out your funnels, working out your lead gen, training team, your leadership skills, all the things, marketing, right? Managing profit and loss, recruiting, business, not money, business. Mm-hmm. As much energy as you put into that, you need to put equally the same amount, like it's a train track, into how does the money feel? What is this abundance for? I'm absolutely a match for it. No, there's no way I'm not going to, if I stay on this track of abundance, that I won't reach the goal that I can see for myself, the dream that I can feel, taste, believe. But we're not going, if I do that, I'll get that.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's like equal, and I think the code here really is equal amount of effort in your clearing your energy on the money, making sure you're in abundance mindset, making sure you're believing there is always more, mm-hmm. and making sure that even if this strategy over here doesn't work, you're still in alignment for the money.
Well, and I think right now, how would you help people see that? Because I agree with you. It is about a focus, and it's like you said, it's not mindset, it's a feeling, right? It's actually feeling the abundance of what the money really creates in the end, right? Because money is just a currency, right? But it's like, what does that feel like? What does the energy of money feel like and do for your life? So it's feeling the feelings of abundance, but how would you help people get into, because I think people understand the business to some degree, like here's my track for lead gen, that, but how does what does it really look like to get in the energy of money on a daily basis?
Well, see, that's a money journey that you have for yourself, and no one else can give it to you. No one else can have it for you, not your partners, not your parents, not really even your mentors. So, I mean, being around people who have got a prosperity mindset, and I think this is where, entrepreneurs talk about being with, in a room, the 5 people that you hang out with, blah, 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 are the people that you're going to, calibrate with. So you want to calibrate with people who are in a prosperity mindset for sure. So, it's not that you're going to avoid people in scarcity, because what you avoid, you attract, but you're going to, ask for, intentionally manifest to be in rooms where there's a possibility paradigm, because money operates in the high potentiality, infinite possibility paradigm. And if you can sit in that pool, in that ocean of possibility as much as possible, you're likely to be an energetic match for it. You're more likely to become wired in your brain that is just who you are. And, you walk down the street, or you walk into, say, if it's a real estate, which I know a lot of your listeners are, if you've got this energy, people are going to feel better around you. They're not going to know why, but they're going to want to go with you, because there's something about the way you breathe, the way you are, it's coming out of your pores, that you're calibrating to a higher frequency of possibility, basically.
Yeah.
You're just more magnetic.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, my work's all about that, just all the mastermind and doing the clearings. And, but even what we're talking about before we hit record was what works really well. So you're not obsessing about your abundance mindset all the time, because again, you're going to start repelling it, because, the universe is like, serious, like, why does she keep thinking about that? Let's give her more lessons of how it's hard. Like we want to kind of get it done and let it go, so we can actually make a difference and be in service, not worried about ourselves all the time. And what with the clients that I'm working with, we just get it done first thing. You just connect with the prosperity paradigm. You imagine what it's the feeling. You write it down. You go for a walk. You just access the feelings. You try and hold it for a bit. And if you've got something that you're upset about. You can pray about it. You can ask for it to be moved around, shifted around, anything you need to do to change things. And it just builds. It just builds, and you'll find, at the end of the year, you've doubled your income or tripled your income, or you've made an extra 50K, or you just start walking the path of abundance. No matter what's happening on the media, markets, nothing does not intercept the universal law of you being able to connect to abundance. So we've got to also deprogram from, I want to say, group consciousness or what everyone thinks. And it's your private walk, I want to say, with God around believing in divine provision and being in the abundance paradigm. Nothing should stop it, even a bill. I mean, we've got so many hacks and, theories and things that we use. Even in the weekly mastermind, we're clearing money just about every single time. So it's clean again. So you're not worried about yourself, because I think going forward, the people who aren't worried about themselves and are also dreaming big and are also allowing abundance to come into their lives are the people that are going to help the other people feel safe who can't or aren't able to right just yet. And so we lift their frequency of expectation of a positive future. It's our job.
Yeah, and I love just going back to, I think, a key point that you talked about in the very beginning, which is that this is not mindset. This is actually an energetic frequency. This is actually a vibration of which you're really getting into the abundance, the wealth creation opportunities, and it's a feeling. So I think that sometimes when we think about, and there's plenty of books out there about, the miracle morning and, doing affirmations in the morning, but you can do affirmations every morning and you could not be in the feeling of abundance, right? If you're just writing them down and not feeling the feelings of it. I guess, is that how you would separate the difference, or what would you say on that?
Yeah, that's true. And then how do you do that? Because you're so hacked by different energies and people's thoughts, and we are coded to be worried about survival. That's how the human race is developed. So we have to, get quantum about it and access a different dimension of being when we're thinking about money. And, you've got to do the dance, like you've got to be smart. So say you've got a tricky deal going through, or there's going to be a gap with some of your outgoings and things like that. You sit with it, you do what needs to be done, but you're also at the same time, again, almost like the train tracks, one side of you is being practical. I'm going to cut back on that. I'm going to move that payment to there, or I'm going to do this or this or this, or we're going to sell that property because we're going to double down on whatever it is, right? So you've got the logic, but the other foot is in the spiritual. One foot in the physical, one in the spiritual. And the other foot's going, yeah, but I'm still imagining that we could buy that $4 million property. Of course. That is where I'm vibrating. Mm-hmm. And, sure enough, in 2 or 3 years' time, or who knows, sooner, you will be in a sort of a feeling like that, or that exact thing that you wanted.
Yeah.
And I think this is where we get really ninja about it. We also let God, I'm a bit of a goddie, in to play the game too. And so we're believing, we've got faith, but we're not delusional. We're kind of like children going, I'd love to have that, and I'll do everything on this railway track here, the business or logical, smart things to do, to keep myself and my family protected financially, but I'm still pulling this golden thread of prosperity, and I'm not going to let it go. Even if the media says to let it go, the market says to let it go, I'm actually not letting it go. I'm going to see what happens if I hold on to this golden rope through the storm. Even if my spouse wants to come along and cut it, says, what are you even thinking like that for? I'm going to keep holding it. It's going to be between me and God. I'm going to go for my walk in the morning, and I'm going to keep the energy, the intention on this dream of prosperity, and I'm not letting it go. And then it just has to come in. It's quantum physics. If you don't let it go, it comes in. But it's a light touch, like it's a light connection, knowing that Creator's got your back, God's got your back, so you don't need to You don't need to turn mean to get it. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? You can just lightly hold the bubble. Yeah.
And I think there's two key points there. Number one is the discernment that comes when you when you're on these two tracks. You'll get guidance of where you need to maybe, cut back, or where you need to, and it feels different than fear, right? It feels like
Yeah.
there's a knowing that I think when you're in both worlds, when you can have this track where you're aligning every morning to the wealth paradigm and the abundance of possibility and all that you know, and in the spiritual, when you're aligning to that, and then you let it go, and then you do the business, then the right opportunities kind of come into being, the right thoughts and intuitive thoughts come into being, where you're like, oh yeah, this is what I need to do. Or this may
Yeah.
not make sense, but I'm getting a gut feel that I need to call this person, or I need to go this direction. When everybody else is going that way, I'm feeling pulled to go this way. And I'm just going to trust that what I'm feeling, because I feel it in my gut and I feel it as a knowing, not a fear, but a knowing, I'm going to go that way, So I
Yeah.
think that's also to your point, the discernment that kind of comes with that. The other thing, and I use this visual that you've given me, is the holding of the balloon, the holding of the goal, the tightening of the cord, this kind of cord energetically between God, above you, that you're holding on to, that and trust and believe that will be in, and I like to say, and I know you do too, that in God's time, right? So that this is what I would like, and then you're also creating, though, from a place where God may know better,
Yeah,
So
that's it.
it's, this kind of dance
And
and
also,
balance.
it's dance and balance, and also calibrating to that high level of possibility. As you said, like, it brings in the opportunities, and you'll get the nudge to work a bit harder. Or, I think one of the things that I like for my clients, if possible, and it seems to be working out, especially the private clients you can get right behind and really, is that they're always on the wave at the right time. And they've missed that smash, because they were always aligned. It's not like they suddenly got aligned. It's like they're always tweaking. It's like sometimes it's the tiniest tweak that saved you from, a bad investment, or partnering with something that wasn't aligned, or, anything like that. So I think that's so key, just getting so aware, into a high level of awareness about who you are, and as I say, one foot in the spiritual, one in the physical every day, and just, let the cake be cooked. Like, let's see what gets created.
Yeah.
With excitement and joy too.
Yes. I love that. Well, this has been such a treat to have you on the show. I'm so excited to have you on here. You were on in the very beginning talking about some of the branding archetypes for anybody that wants to go back to those initial shows in the very beginning. But it's a treat to have you on now talking about this. And I know that you had mentioned even you might do a little energy clearing,
Oh, yes.
or something for our listeners that they could enjoy and can help them in their business and their life.
Yeah, well, we just looked it up before. There's a little, like, an affirmation we can clear. But before we clear that, to get really connected to money, you can actually see it as one of your favorite people. So if you've got a sacred relationship with someone that you just adore, it might be a grandmother who's passed away. It could be anyone. A dog, even. We've got people to do dogs. I want you to really kind of get the feeling of them, and we can sort of project money onto them, like that's how we want you to feel about money. So you've got your own sort of sacred relationship with money. So there's a whole process that we do with that, and the work that we do. But that's a really good place to start. So I just want, if you're listening to this and you feel like doing it now, if you're driving, don't close your eyes, but just get a sense of that person, and just feel what happens in your body and in your soul and in your mind. And a sense of security often comes in, and kind of excitement and all the things. And then I just want you to just decide now that that's what money is for you. So you've got your own personal relationship with money, because you've got to find a way to create that balloon or that thread of connection. Otherwise, it's going to be other people's concepts of money, even the best books you've read, but it can block you having that energy connection to money, which we were talking about before. So you think of someone who you adore, who adores you, and we've got that. And then let's just clear anything in the way of you just connecting to that feeling for money, okay? So I want you to say, I take responsibility for my attitudes and now choose to kindly, gently, lovingly and supportively transmute, transform, transcend, dissolve the lack of balance in my life, the inability to have appropriate boundaries, seeing life's situations as obstacles, into all-encompassing love. I make the commitment to kindly, gently, lovingly and supportively develop an appreciation of the need for a balance in my responsibilities, relationships, and other areas requiring my energies. I will view life situations as opportunities. So anywhere and everywhere that you have got lost in the business, lost in the weeds, lost balance, lost connection, feeling like you have to hustle in a way that is stealing your life or your soul, are you willing to let that go? And we just ask for that confusion or that misalignment to be rearranged with grace, effective immediately across all timelines, dimensions, realities, and beyond. And then just get a sense of that really good feeling with money and sort of making a little inner commitment to deepen that relationship with prosperity and wellness, the wellness of being provided for. And then just get a sense of, on the other side, you've got your business, stuff you're going to do, making a difference, your leadership, the impact that you want to make, and just notice that it's separate, but it's one at the same time. And when you're ready, just come back into the room.
Well, that was really special and powerful. And so I'm really thrilled. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So I think everybody's going to have a special treat after this episode to have this magical session with you at the end. So if you're feeling like you need to even return to that or come back to it, you can mark that time in the episode and feel free to come back as many times as you need to. Wouldn't you say that, Jen? Does that feel accurate?
That's a good idea. Yeah, that sounds good.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much again for joining us today. And I get to see you later tonight for our coaching session.
In an hour and a half or something, aren't we? That'd be good.
Yeah, that's right. So, but anybody that wants to learn more about Jen and Jen's work, Jen, can you share a little bit about where people can find you?
Well, I've got an app coming out. Actually, it'll be out in a couple of weeks. I think they're just approving it now, and it's called the Manifest Mastermind. We may change the name later, but that's what it'll be for the while. And there's a couple of free trainings they can do, the brand archetypes, the money archetypes. I'll put a couple of free money trainings on there, and then if they want to go in deeper, they can join the mastermind, and really it's I feel like it's such a valuable platform for entrepreneurs. It's been going since 2018 without fail every week, and really keeping people in alignment with, keeping them in momentum, clearing the energy. There's stuff that comes up with relationships, money, relationships, soul-aligned clients, you name it. We're using the business kinesiology to clear it for them every single week. And actually tomorrow we're doing body, so we're going to do lots of quantum healing on the body, and people are going to be able to listen to that episode back when they're feeling a bit inflamed, or we're not promising anything, but we can at least do our part to try and make sure the body's aligning to being healed and choosing regeneration, as opposed to you're sacrificing your body to build a business. So that's what we're doing this week. So it's very in flow, and that's the Manifest Mastermind.
That's beautiful. And I think that just speaks to the holistic view, right, of business as the entrepreneurial journey really is about all the pieces that go into the business, body, mind, the energy of it. I mean, it's the whole picture versus, and I think that's what's beautiful about this journey, is really understanding that and having somebody like you to really lead us through in this journey. So thank you again for being here. And I'll put your Instagram handle, because I know you're active on Instagram as well. And so we'll put all of those links for how to find you in the show notes.
Thank you so much, Cara.
All right.
I shall see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Loved being here with you today, and would love to connect with you more over on Instagram. My handle is linked to the show notes, or you can just type in @CaraChafin_Donofrio. And I have something special for you as a free gift, my Dynamic Life Journal. This special book has the power to really help you live a soul-inspired life. Go to freegiftfromcara.com. Easy to remember, freegiftfromcara.com. Until next time, beautiful people, sending all my love.